Thank you very much, and a very warm good morning. I would say all protocol observed, since we are running a bit short of time. But let me just say that it's a great pleasure and honor to be with the honorable premiers, honorable Minister of Finance, and of course various stakeholders from the ECCB, the OECS Director General, and especially representatives of youth group, because that is really the future of not just the Caribbean, but the world. I'm delighted to be here today, and as when you mentioned Governor, I raised my hand because this is my first participation, and it's really a pleasure to be here for an event which is actually talking about transformational change. And I'm very pleased that you invited us to collaborate with you and with the OECS Commission to jointly be partners in this event. And I'm really pleased that I have been able to bring our experts from the digital agenda and the renewable energy who will be part of your panels going forward. I'll try to be a bit brief in my remarks to focus more on aspirational ambitions. Many events that we attend collectively with you and with other partners in the Caribbean start with lamenting about the issues that Caribbean region faces, or the Eastern Caribbean, be it the high vulnerability to climate change and natural disasters, one that happened recently, be it high debt, be it the issue of low human resources because people migrate. I want to shift the dialogue to more opportunities. It is a challenge to be small in size because there are issues with the economies of scale, but again, smallness of size also brings tremendous opportunities. Let me touch upon three such opportunities. First of all, and this is something that all of you who live in the region and all of us who work for the region and visit see visually, dramatically, and in a beautiful way, and those are your ocean resources. And that brings me to the point of the opportunity of the blue economy. How best to harness the blue economy, which is the biggest asset that this region collectively faces. Why it's important? Because research is now showing very critically for the Caribbean also, over $400 billion is the value of your ocean economy for the Caribbean. And this research is, by the way, not very recent from the World Bank. It's about 7 years old, and I'm sure the data would be higher. The OECD has projected that the ocean economy is likely to grow faster than overall rates of economic growth in the coming decades. And all of this, as I mentioned, is linked to the ocean. The tourism industry for the Caribbean as a whole, I'm sorry I don't have the broken down data for the Eastern Caribbean, but for the Caribbean as a whole, generates $57 billion annually, which accounts for 15% of GDP, contributing to 13% of total jobs in the region. So the opportunity for the small states to manage and direct the growth in a way that fosters the blue economy is a great opportunity, and I'm really delighted to share with you here today that based on a consensus of the at least 4 of the Eastern Caribbean countries who receive concessional financing support from the World Bank group, we are going to be embarking on a very ambitious program to harness, to support you in developing the blue economy resources. A second opportunity that I wanted to touch upon is the opportunity that I shouldn't even be saying it because our global expert, Dr. Bettina Gurmezi, is here, and she'll talk about it, and that's on the question of technological innovations. In today's world, I always say to myself that when I was growing up, and I think many of you who were also studying at various times in the 80s or 90s, always heard that there's one major equalizer in this world, and that's education. That's the way for mobility forward. I believe today the biggest equalizer is technology and the digital agenda. Whether you are a small state or a big state, whether you are a developed country or a developing country, that is the biggest equalizer. And that's the major pathway to jobs and to growth as well today. And this is a change which is not, that has happened over decades. It's happening as we speak. So for this region to embrace the opportunity of the digital revolution is really the key, I would say, priority, and this is an issue where this region is lagging behind. I have to say that very, very candidly. There are countries with low-income countries in Africa, such as Kenya, where over 40% of the population uses mobile phones to make e-payments. Can we not move towards that more rapidly in this region? Digital ID systems are other aspects of how services become easier and simpler for citizenry. And those systems exist in my own country. I'm from Pakistan. It started 20 years ago and was digitized 15 years ago. In India, a population of over 1.1 billion, they have embarked on that and successfully. Why cannot this region do so as well? In Bangladesh, a Grameen Bank was a pioneer in the late 1990s when cell phone was a unique, novel idea, using the phone, giving it in the hands of women for microcredit. So let's now proceed towards that faster. And as the Director General OECS mentioned, I'm really delighted to again inform you that in collaboration with the OECS Commission, with the ECCB and the Eastern Caribbean countries, we are launching, I think it's probably a financing program of around close to between $50 to $60 million US. It's under preparation right now, and we hope to move it very fast. The third point I wanted to mention in terms of the opportunities for small states, and especially for the Eastern Caribbean, is the regional agenda. And that's, again, I think you mentioned, Governor, the point about regional trade and moving forward. I personally believe, and my team believes, that the biggest success of this region on bringing people together is the place where we are standing today. It's the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. Having a universal currency for the Eastern Caribbean is an excellent example of the benefits of closer collaboration. You mentioned, Governor, the issues of, you showed very nice slides on the areas of, and you mentioned the 3 areas where progress is required going forward. Indeed, continued success depends on the region's ability to collectively enforce fiscal discipline, very, very important, and harmonize financial sector regulations and supervision. We already have excellent examples of risk pooling through the Caribbean Risk Facility, CC-CRIF. We have very good example of how CEDIMA moves forward fast in ex-ante and ex-post disaster risk management. So there are good examples, and more can be done on that front. Therefore, I consider that the question of regional approach must also complement innovation that we spoke about. You already spoke about, Governor, this morning, and the OECS Director General spoke about. Let me endorse fully the 3 areas, Governor, you mentioned, which was governance, resilience, and access to finance. These are all 3 areas where we wish to really partner from the World Bank Group side very closely with you in bringing all we can, not just from the financial resource perspective, but from global knowledge and also any analytical support we can bring forward. I do want to say that I was very, very struck by in the morning when the prayer was made, and the prayer was made to share wisdom, to share ideas for resilience going forward. And I think that was a very, very thoughtful prayer that was shared with all of us. In closing, let me mention to the audience, because I think we have several partners here that from the World Bank Group side we have not maybe met before, including youth groups or leaders of the opposition or the media, some of the media groups, that the World Bank takes a cross-cutting approach to supporting the Caribbean countries and Eastern Caribbean in building resilience, which is both resilience before preparedness, adaptation to climate change, as well as ex post, after something, God forbid, happens. Our existing portfolio of financial support exceeds over $2 billion for the Caribbean countries. And just for the Eastern Caribbean countries, since we started the partnership, since the Eastern Caribbean countries became members of the World Bank Group, we have provided financing up to about $1 billion, out of which 70% has been in interest-free financing. In addition, there's a range of analytical work that we do, and we do it for you because you're all our member states. And we have done that in the area of the blue economy and the financial sector, as well as in fiscal-related issues. I do want to mention that finally the point that was noted, I think by you, Director General, OECS Commission on youth. Youth are and remain in every generation the present and the future. So I would really at the end say that from the World Bank Group side, we are very, very available to do all we can to respond to the demands of the youth in terms of what you think is the World Bank should be doing more of for the region. So feel free to reach out to us in any forum, either in events or on personally, via email, via social media as well. We will give you a listening ear because we believe you are the present and the future of not just, as I said, the Caribbean, but the world. Finally, thank you very much again to the ECCB organizing team, to you, Governor, for this event and this initiative. And I did mention to the Governor in passing the other day that I was very impressed with the organizational material that your team had shared with us. And I've said, oh, the World Bank and my team, we need to learn from the way you're managing. So thank you very much.